Sometimes reality feels like a corridor with endless doors that never open. Each day loops back into itself, making the idea of true change seem as distant as a memory you're not sure ever belonged to you. In this space, the rules are unbending, every direction feels predetermined, and hope wears thin as the scenery never shifts. Existence becomes a blueprint etched in stone, and even the strongest intentions barely scratch the surface. But suppose there was an entirely different canvas waiting just beyond what the senses record, a way of existing that isn't an extension of what you already know, but a full shift in how experience itself is organized. Here, everything you once counted as a border becomes like mist at sunrise, impossible to hold, quick to dissolve. In this expanded state, ordinary measurements lose meaning, and the invisible dimensions of thought and spirit blend seamlessly with the visible world, making everything mutable. Within this space, the mind ceases to act as a mere recorder of facts and instead becomes an instrument for sculpting new realities. Patterns that once bound you to repetition dissolve, and unseen pathways emerge, inviting a sense of freedom that isn't tied to past events. This is a territory where intuition becomes a compass and imagination is the bridge between desire and possibility, enlivened by an unspoken harmony with the larger flow of existence. Welcoming this mode of awareness is not an act of effort but of surrender, like slipping into a river that knows exactly where to carry you. The push and pull of inner wisdom and subtle feelings quietly rearrange the landscape, causing change to unfold without resistance. The transition from limitation to expansion is not dramatic, but gentle, more like a dawn that gradually replaces the night, revealing contours and horizons that were always there, waiting. At the heart of this expanded consciousness lies a seamless fusion. What you touch and what you sense, what you think and what you feel, all respond to the same pulse. Here, there are no boundaries separating physical actions from silent intentions. Every quiet realization, every heartbeat of insight, participates in creating the larger story. The world ceases to be a grid and becomes an ever-shifting current, inviting discovery and reflection. Perception here extends beyond what can be measured or grasped. Actions may appear simple, but their source lies deep within an invisible ocean of empathy and vision. Rather than seeing reality as a puzzle of disconnected parts, you begin to notice the invisible strings binding everything together, and every moment glows with its own quiet meaning. The familiar framework of cause and effect dissolves, making space for possibility to emerge from the unknown. Ordinary awareness is like walking through a maze with high walls. You can only see the path immediately ahead. But in this new domain, the walls vanish, and what was once a tight maze transforms into an open plain where movement is fluid, and new directions appear at every step. The difference is unmistakable. What was once narrow and set becomes wide and shifting, promising not just escape, but a new relationship to all that is. Reality no longer feels like a train track with a set destination. Instead, it's more like standing within an ever-changing field where moments flicker in and out of focus, and the links between what happens and why are shaped by the direction of your awareness. Past and future blend into a living tapestry where every thread pulses with many layers, inner feelings, silent knowing, and the subtle impressions that shape what's real. Here, movement isn't measured by steps taken but by the expansion of consciousness itself, reaching sideways, inward, and upward all at once, stretching to dimensions of perception never touched before. Stepping beyond the boundaries of customary thought is like submerging into a place where familiar boundaries lose their grip, and the distinctions between yesterday, today, and tomorrow become soft and interchangeable. With each breath, a fresh layer of the mind reveals itself, each layer offering more depth, more resonance, more connection than what was possible before. Every relationship and encounter glows with a different significance, carrying hints of insight and energy that defy simple explanation, as if reality itself is made of echoes that reach far beyond what's visible. True transformation begins in the instant the old maps are set aside and awareness pivots into a direction not listed in any manual. In this space, perspective doesn't just shift, it multiplies, generating endless new vantage points, each offering a new way to interpret what's possible. This isn't a journey of distance, but one of deepening, where meaning becomes richer and the unknown invites rather than threatens. The initial leap into this awareness opens a door to the countless ways expanded consciousness can color and uplift every corner of life. What emerges is a level of originality and vision once considered impossible. Creation stops being an act of assembling known pieces and instead feels like inviting a new pattern into existence, one that responds to intention, feeling, and silent awareness as much as logic or skill. Inspiration isn't limited to traditional expressions, but seeps into each choice, transforming the most routine actions into opportunities for revelation and growth. The boundaries between creativity and daily living dissolve, making every decision a channel for new understanding, as once unseen options are illuminated and brought into play. Interactions take on an entirely new tone in this expanded state of being. Encounters are no longer simple exchanges but become intricate dances of unspoken connection, where what passes between people is as real and immediate as any physical presence. Shared moments transform into vibrant networks of emotional and intuitive energy, dissolving any sense of distance. Understanding becomes visceral, as if every heartbeat and silent thought of another could be sensed directly, building connections that feel as enduring and sacred as ancient oaths. Bonds evolve into spaces of mutual recognition and support, enriched by a shared journey that transcends surface roles. The path deepens, revealing that every step forward is an inward turn as well. The quest to know oneself unfurls new layers of awareness that light up the silent territories within, where wisdom lies hidden, waiting to be discovered. Each challenge and insight uncovers another fragment of this hidden landscape, piecing together a vast and intricate map of existence. Every experience, no matter how small, contributes to a growing clarity about one's place in the larger order, guiding toward a sense of belonging that stretches beyond old limitations. Opening to this broader awareness brings a kind of intensity to experience that cannot be found in old patterns. The familiar shades of daily life are replaced by a spectrum that feels almost endless, emotions gain texture, connections carry deeper resonance, and even ordinary events shimmer with unexpected meaning. Identity becomes a living, breathing phenomenon, expanding beyond physical boundaries and merging into a collective current of understanding. In the center of this shift lies a way of being that feels less like an isolated existence and more like participating in an ongoing revelation, where every new realization adds depth to the ongoing story. Translating these insights into everyday life requires a willingness to nurture new patterns of thought and perception. This stage is where ideas move from imagination into reality, taking root in the soil of direct experience. Deliberate presence and reflective practices become vital tools, enabling the abstract to become concrete. Attention itself transforms into a bridge between the invisible and the tangible, making each thought and feeling a foundational element of reality rather than a fleeting moment. Integrating these practices invites the mind to build an ever-expanding mosaic of understanding, each part chosen with intention and clarity. Envision stepping into a haven untouched by distraction, a place where the mind's surface calms and becomes clear. In this environment, the ongoing stream of thought softens, and the mind becomes receptive to subtler currents of insight. As awareness settles, inner clutter disperses, unveiling untouched depths of clarity that await beneath the surface, ready to support the next stage of growth. Silent moments hold a kind of unveiling, where what was once hidden in the background steps into clarity. During these pauses, the usual turbulence fades away, and softer signals from within become distinct. These subtle messages, often drowned out by the demands of the outside world, carry deep understanding, offering guidance not through words, but through inner sensations and flashes of awareness. This quiet language of knowing surfaces only when the surface noise subsides, revealing layers of insight that usually go unnoticed. Deepening in awareness, these reflective pauses shift from being brief interruptions to becoming a fundamental way of aligning with expanded perception. Such moments are more than just intervals of rest, they become touchstones for recognizing the intricate blending of perception and spirit within each experience. Sensitivity grows, making the patterns of connection among all things more obvious. The web of reality appears less as separate parts and more as a single, interwoven field, where every thought, mood, and choice weaves itself into a larger whole. True mindfulness doesn't mean stepping away from what's real but meeting it with a new depth. This shift in attention creates a space where the familiar boundary between observer and world softens, and presence itself shapes the ongoing flow of experience. Participation becomes active rather than passive, with every intention and feeling subtly influencing what unfolds next. Living with this awareness means greeting each instant as a living invitation to grow closer to the heart of existence, where simple acts echo with cosmic significance. Exploring the territory of inner life means relating to emotion and spirit as essential parts of being. The experience isn't forced but develops naturally as feelings are welcomed, not resisted. Emotions, once dismissed as mere reactions, begin to reveal their role as allies on the path of self-understanding. Each feeling is recognized for its power to shed light on what lies beneath the surface, deepening the journey of awareness. With sharpened sensitivity, it becomes clear that emotions, whether uplifting or challenging, are not just byproducts of the outer world but serve as signposts pointing toward deeper development. They shape movement through daily life, guiding choices and inviting pauses for reflection. These internal shifts compose the underlying score of life, ensuring each response is genuine and each moment is shaped by honest engagement with what's felt and known. As intuition gains strength alongside feeling, the entire lens through which reality is encountered shifts. Understanding stretches beyond physical senses, allowing experience to be received with an openness that wasn't accessible before. Rather than simply reacting to what is immediately visible or audible, awareness opens to layers of meaning that run through all of life. What was once noticed only by the mind is now apprehended through the deepest parts of being, and each encounter carries a sense of connection that quietly dissolves old limits. With this newfound fusion of heart and spirit, life is no longer composed of predictable shades or static forms. Instead, every moment pulses with shifting undertones, and each phase of growth leaves its own distinct mark. The journey becomes an ever-shifting mural, where insights and emotions blend to create something alive and constantly unfolding. There's no set pattern, rather, there is a continual movement, a weaving together of presence and inner revelation, with every stage adding to the richness of what's unfolding. Moving through both struggles and celebrations becomes an exploration that adds depth and meaning. Highs and lows aren't merely obstacles or trophies, but chapters that shape character and bring wisdom. The same aspects of life that once felt overwhelming now reveal themselves as sources of strength, offering lessons that nurture courage and compassion. Emotional responses and spiritual understandings become building blocks, helping to craft a fuller and more radiant existence. The scope of awareness widens, revealing new vantage points from which to observe and respond to life. It becomes possible to consider circumstances from many different angles at once, each offering its own insights. What once seemed like a single, straightforward path is now a nexus where countless outcomes overlap, and every decision reflects not only immediate desires but subtler influences and potentials. At this point, perception is no longer confined by habit or tradition, but is spacious enough to recognize the quiet interplay of many unseen factors. Standing in this openness, the importance of each choice becomes apparent, not just for the present, but for the wider field of experience. Actions are no longer isolated events, but subtle movements that carry weight far beyond their surface impact. A single gesture or word can stir shifts in the emotional climate, reaching into the hearts of others in ways not easily measured. With this realization, making decisions transforms into a creative act that draws from both knowledge and inner knowing, engaging the whole self in the process. Each moment of discernment invites not just analysis, but also a tuning into subtleties that logic alone might overlook. Choices are approached as opportunities for integration, blending intellect, felt experience, and instinctive wisdom. In this way, life is navigated with both clarity and depth, as the ever-present flow of guidance beneath the surface becomes an ally in shaping each unfolding chapter. An expanded awareness reshapes how choices are made, guiding decisions toward outcomes that honor both personal intent and the broader movement of life. In this widened state of seeing, subtle links between self and surroundings become undeniable. Every intention, no matter how private, resonates outward and plays its part in a much larger story that connects every living thing. This deeper recognition naturally encourages actions rooted in empathy and collective care. Decision-making shifts from self-centered gains to contributions that foster harmony within the wider web of existence. Each turning point is approached not as a lone event but as an opportunity to add depth and coherence to the unfolding experience of the whole. The process is less about isolated achievement and more about participating in a continuum of interrelated influences, where every gesture carries significance far beyond its origin. Living from this perspective turns daily activity into a process of meaning-making, as even the smallest choice shapes a larger narrative that echoes in both the outer world and the inner life. Gradually, there's a shift from simply existing alongside others to recognizing oneself as an integral node in a vast, multidimensional network. This expanded consciousness welcomes a limitless array of possibilities and fresh directions. Bringing this mindset into daily rhythms involves letting awareness permeate even the most routine moments. Existence ceases to be a series of random happenings and becomes a carefully composed experience, as awareness carves out clarity and intention in each moment. Every action becomes a deliberate note in a complex composition, harmonizing the practical with the profound. Within this orientation, resolving challenges and making choices ceases to be a struggle between opposites. Instead, it becomes a nuanced process that draws from many sources of insight, rational thought, emotional intelligence, and the subtler guidance of inner knowing. This method uncovers options that may have previously been obscured, revealing solutions that align not only with immediate needs but also with the deeper currents at play. Navigating daily life with this integrated awareness is like moving with practiced grace, able to respond to each situation without losing touch with the larger field of possibility. It's a dance of presence and transcendence, balancing earthly demands with an open channel to inspiration. In this state, simple interactions hold the potential for transformation, and ordinary routines become vessels for connection, discovery, and the silent transfer of wisdom. Awareness of the ties connecting all actions infuses everyday life with a renewed sense of meaning. Each small gesture, thoughtful or indifferent, echoes outward, quietly shifting the landscape beyond immediate view. This recognition instills both agency and accountability, revealing how every decision threads into the unfolding patterns that shape both personal journeys and collective experience. As expanded awareness takes root, life transforms from routine movement through the world to conscious participation within it. Every thought and intention becomes a deliberate contribution, woven into the larger current that links all existence. Spiritual insights move from the realm of private reflection into practical, everyday acts, creating a rhythm where inspiration finds concrete form. Living in this way means stepping beyond passive observation and embracing an active role in the co-creation of reality itself. Shifting to this mode of perception requires untangling from habits of disbelief and reflexive reactions. This isn't merely about understanding new ideas, but about letting perception itself be altered. Old assumptions and worn-out patterns often pull at the edges, tempting a return to familiar territory. The transition demands openness to new ways of seeing and engaging with experience, even when such shifts unsettle what was once held as certain. Letting go of ingrained skepticism means entertaining the possibility that reality stretches far past what is physically present. It involves recognizing the subtle ways inner attitudes and expectations sculpt the world encountered each day. Persistent mindfulness becomes the tool for shifting the mental compass, redirecting attention away from self-imposed limits and nurturing a climate of curiosity and growth. The process is ongoing, a continuous choosing to orient toward openness and depth. Endurance and flexibility become crucial as the journey deepens. The movement toward expanded awareness is rarely simple or predictable, it comes with both moments of insight and stretches of uncertainty. Developing resilience is essential, adapting to upheaval and persisting even as the ground seems to shift. Navigating this landscape is not about arriving at perfect understanding, but about growing sturdy and supple enough to hold both clarity and doubt at once. Perseverance fuels progress through the challenging periods, while willingness to reconsider old certainties makes space for transformation. This ongoing evolution means revisiting beliefs, discarding those that no longer serve, and letting fresh perspectives take their place. The process isn't always comfortable, it shakes the foundations and invites vulnerability. Yet through it, new possibilities open, and life is encountered as a living process, ever-changing, ever-inviting deeper engagement. A foundation of inner steadiness is what anchors growth during times of uncertainty. When the world outside shifts and beliefs are challenged, cultivating this core strength provides a quiet stability. Growth on this path asks for more than mere endurance, it requires allowing softness and openness, recognizing that true strength is found in admitting what we don't know, welcoming new perspectives, and being willing to encounter vulnerability as a form of wisdom. By letting go of resistance and embracing the unfamiliar, the spirit finds room to expand. Ongoing practices of contemplation and presence deepen this process, making space for subtle guidance to surface. Turning inward and attending to the quiet currents of intuition, insight is gathered, offering direction through confusion and restoring balance when emotions run high. Through these rituals of self-connection, emotional storms are met with clarity, and challenges become opportunities to remain steady and aware. Mastering this way of living is not about clinging to a rigid identity, nor dissolving into chaos, but discovering a dynamic balance between remaining rooted and being able to bend. Curiosity leads the way through uncharted landscapes of mind and soul, but connection to one's own values and inner compass keeps the journey authentic. This flexible strength acts as a vessel, carrying the spirit through ever-changing tides, opening passageways to new realms of understanding. The process is cyclical, never linear. Each cycle closes only to give way to another threshold, an entry point for further growth and discovery. The work of exploring deeper awareness is not the conclusion of a quest, but an invitation to begin anew, to continue expanding the possibilities for how reality is experienced and understood. Looking back, what was once a fixed way of seeing the world has transformed. The boundaries of perception have stretched, allowing new colors of feeling and understanding to emerge. The separation between inner experience and outer reality begins to blur, and each movement of thought or feeling weaves itself into the broader pattern of existence. The very act of perceiving becomes a creative force, shaping what unfolds and binding each moment into the infinite whole. What arises from this is not simply a broadened outlook, but a complete renewal of how life is lived and engaged with. Moving beyond inherited ways of being, the path forward is made by the active shaping of thought, emotion, and intent, embracing the full spectrum of what it means to be alive and conscious in a world that is constantly inviting co-creation. A sense of readiness emerges from this exploration, carrying new resources and fresh clarity into everyday experience. The adventure of expanding perception is not a destination but an ongoing unfolding, an endless cycle of refining awareness and discovering new depths of purpose, insight, and connection with all that surrounds us. This path is a gradual awakening, inviting a steady movement toward greater harmony with the quiet wonders and vast unknowns that fill existence. Choosing to live with this openness, daily life is infused with unexpected delight and richer connections. Each encounter, whether routine or extraordinary, becomes a point of access to deeper wisdom and creative potential. The transformation reaches beyond intellect, touching every facet of being, and beckoning us to explore both the known and the mysterious with courage and wonder. The journey extends an invitation to continually reinvent our experience of the world, discovering endless opportunities for meaning and fulfillment. Moving forward, it is valuable to share what is discovered along the way. Every insight, challenge, and breakthrough adds to the collective landscape, weaving a larger tapestry of understanding and inspiration. Engaging with others in this spirit of exchange strengthens the web of support, sparking new perspectives and shared breakthroughs. The act of sharing one's own growth not only deepens personal understanding but also lights the path for fellow travelers, building a living, breathing network of evolving consciousness. Each contribution becomes part of a greater mosaic, as all voices together illuminate the ongoing adventure of expanded awareness.